In part 2, we watched the Christian Church of Security grow from a congregation of a couple of hundred to a church with 600 weekly attendees at the Aspen Drive location. To accommodate the explosive growth, the elders decided to sell the Whittick Drive property they had purchased several years ago in order to find a location that would be better to serve the community. That place was found at the southeast corner of Hancock and Bradley Roads. Once again, the members of the church sacrificed and partnered with God to purchase the land.
When the church moved to this new location on Bradley Road in Hancock, we recognized that God was really opening up a broader door of ministry to us, and we needed a name that reflected us. And so the church voted on and selected Pikes Peak Christian Church to represent our new name and our new field of ministry. A lot of times when God would call people to a new ministry, He would give them a new name. He changed Abram to Abraham, Simon became Peter, Saul became Paul. And the new name reflected the vision and the mission that God had called us to reach the Pikes Peak region and beyond.
People who didn't know about the church or its past came to see what appeared to be a brand new church. Among the initial crowd of visitors were Mark and Osa Fisher and their 4 children.
It was the biggest church on the street. We figured it has a children's program. So why don't we start there? It was a new facility, even though it looked like a dentist office, there were signs that told us it was a church. So that was our reason for coming. The cool thing about that was that he gave out money in envelopes to people, $5, $10, or $20. And there was a video for Voice of the Martyrs. I think that was played, and he said, I want you to pray and ask God what you're supposed to do with this money. We're giving it to you to give away. So, and the video for Voice of the Martyrs was for Sudan. And I had a friend who was preparing to go to Sudan, and so I gave that money to him. And that also told me, hey, this church has a vision for missions. And so we never left. We didn't visit any of the other churches on the street. We stayed. And because you could say it was by chance, but it wasn't. It was God really directing us and bringing us here at the right moment, so that that particular service just spoke to us so amazingly that we stayed.
Team Kid brought more than 200 children together in a VBS-like atmosphere every Wednesday night. And then on Sunday nights, 50 to 70 students gathered with their peers to experience their own worship service with a message by one of the youth pastors.
Hi, I'm David Eccles. I grew up there at Pikes Peak Christian Church through the Sunday School, VBS. I came to Christ there in the youth group.
After graduation, David went to Namibia with a friend, and there he met his future wife, Sandy. After they attended a Bible college together in the States, they would eventually return to Namibia to reach the young adults in the city of Katatura. The students weren't the only ones with a heart for the nations. In the winter of 2003, a team of 17 adults began planning a trip to Tanzania, Africa, to help the Price family build a home. Many more trips followed to Azerbaijan, India, Mexico, Thailand, and New Zealand.
Kingdom of God, just like the universe that He made, is always expanding. It always has to keep getting outside the walls of the church and into the community and even into the world. And so our church began to do that in greater ways. I remember one of the movements within the church was a group of people who had a heart for the homeless downtown. And every Saturday afternoon, they would gather a group of people, make some food, and then head down to Acacia Park to feed the homeless. It was about this time that our elders also decided that as a church, we would designate 10% of our church budget to missions, because we wanted to make sure that as the church grew and as our budget grew, our heart for missions, whether it be local missions or global missions, would expand with it.
For so many years, the focus of the church was on relocating and expanding the facilities. Now that the move was complete, they turned their attention to determine the next step for the church. This resulted in a campaign called Imagine a Place, with a goal to build a larger worship facility to the south of the existing building.
The timing wasn't right, and so we had to simplify our goals. We added a parking lot to the west side of the building, and then we also added a playground for our children. And though we were disappointed at the time, we were very excited that God had blessed us to do 2 things that were very critical for the continuing growth of our church.
In February of 2004, I think I surprised the church family by resigning to take a new position with Church Development Fund. I saw as an opportunity for expanded kingdom impact. I saw how the church was really beginning to reach people and carry on this new vision. And I recommended to the elders that they select Darrin to be the senior pastor here, because he'd been a part of the vision and the growth all of those years and could lead the church to even greater things.
Both men had worked together for over 8 years. This would be Darrin's first opportunity to lead a congregation, and he quickly learned that being a senior pastor was more challenging than he expected. These next few years would be a season of transition, not only for himself, but also for the staff and congregation. Yet these changes were important for enabling the church to impact families in a greater way. In the next chapter, you'll hear how the church began to change in order to impact families, the community, and places around the world.